G'day everyone, we're at number 5 in the countdown of my top 20 songs of all time. Well, this band needs no introduction. They came in at number 4 in my top 20 albums of all time. One of the biggest bands the world's seen, AC/DC, very proudly Australian. And this is off their Highway to Hell album, which came out in 1979. And I had to really toss up between 2 tracks on this album. I love Walk All Over You. That's a real slow burner of a track, and I love it dearly. But in the end, just getting nudged out by this track from the same album, If You Want Blood, which to me just sums up everything AC/DC at its finest was all about. Bon Scott on the lead vocals, that unmistakable guitar riffing from Angus Young and Malcolm Young, arguably the greatest rhythm guitarist the world's ever seen. Cliff Williams on bass and Phil Rudd on the drums. The strange thing about this song and indeed this album, if you live in Australia, is that they left here and did a lot of touring over in the US and the UK, and we didn't sort of hear much of them when they were away for a couple of years. And unfortunately for us, that meant that what I think are their 2 best albums, Power Age and Highway to Hell, didn't actually get much airtime in Australia. I remember vividly hearing this song for the first time. It wasn't until probably 10 years after it came out. I was watching Rage one night, and they had a whole set of Akadaka clips, and including about 5 tracks of this album they'd done clips for in the same studio setting. And one by one, I just thought, this is amazing. And this, for me, was the killer track. Just those fantastic riffs. You know, they're tight as a drum, this band, and that was one of the keys to their success. Despite, you know, often pretty simple sort of guitar lines, there was certainly nothing complicated about their way their music was arranged, or indeed about the lyrics. Although the lyrics, when Bon Scott was fronting them, were always, they had that wry sort of humorous touch about them, which I thought was great. But it just rocks, this track from go to woe. Great video clip too. They're playing live, but you see Angus in the end having a guitar plunge through his abdomen and fake blood everywhere. Pretty typical Akadaka, basically taking the piss out of a lot of stuff. But it's an awesome track. It says everything about what made them great. Off an awesome album. I mean, everyone knows the song Highway to Hell, but like I said, Walk All Over You, Girls Got Rhythm, Touch Too Much. There's just some magnificent Akadaka on this. It's got a slightly shinier production about it too. Mutt Lang produced this album, and I think did a fantastic job with it. And this track is probably, for mine, the rockiest sounding track on the album. And it just goes off, and I loved it the moment I heard it. Still my favourite AC/DC song. Still play that and this album a hell of a lot. Just can't get enough of it. And it's remarkable, more than 40 years on, you know, what were often pretty simple sort of songs, they just continue to resonate. And that had a lot to do with the musicianship, and they just melded seamlessly on this album and on this track. It's a ripper. If You Want Blood from AC/DC. That is my number 5 track. I'll be back soon in my top 20 songs countdown with number 4.